Welcome back to Brandon Murphy Garage, where today we're going to be adjusting these throttle bodies on the crossfire injection. I think I may have said it in an earlier video, but I don't think this thing was ever touched by a GM mechanic because it still had all the safety welds and caps on the adjustment screws, but we went ahead and grinded those off, so we're able to adjust it now. And I also already ran a water manometer on it, but we're going to go over that today as well. But these things are supposed to be pulling 6 inches of water for vacuum, and they are not. They are actually pulling well under that. I think this one is pulling about 1.6. This is pulling about 8.1. No, this one is pulling about 0.87, I think, if I remember correctly. So we're gonna go ahead and we're finally gonna adjust these and get them up to pulling 6 inches of water like they're supposed to. In order to do that, a few tools you're gonna need is a manometer. An actual water manometer would actually probably be best for this situation. These electric ones can be slightly off, but it's not gonna be too far off to where it's really gonna affect anything too much. You're gonna need a T20 Torx key. That's for the back adjustment screw here. This is also I think this is the primary throttle body. This one's the secondary. So the primary throttle body is going to be a T20 Torx key. And then up here for this, for the idle screw, up here for the secondary, you can mainly turn with your hands, or if you have a big enough Allen wrench, Allen key, Allen wrench, what is it? Allen key wrench? I don't know. Anyway, if you have a big enough one for that, you can use this to adjust it as well, which is what I will be doing because it seems to be easier to use the Allen wrench over my hands. So we're going to do that. First things you're going to probably want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and unhook your idle air controllers. That would be the green wires going into your throttle body. And then after you unhook those, ooh, boy, ooh, that one was on there. You're going to want to use something to block off the where the hole for the idle air screws are in here. So what I'm using is 3M tape. It's going to be strong enough and durable enough to block off that little passageway. So basically just cut them to fit, and then I usually, when I check these before, I think I took a screwdriver and I helped push it down in here and then push it up against the back so it has a good seal. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do that now. We're gonna get this thing prepped for adjustment. All right, I ended up having to use my needle noses, but our idle air control passageways are officially blocked off. We have our idle air control plugins unplugged, and now we got to fire up this old engine. Now when you fire it up, it's going to run a little crappy because it's not, the computer doesn't have anything to control the idle speed, so it's going to start down really low, but don't worry, it'll right itself up after a little bit, and then you can go ahead and start adjusting. So for this next part, it's actually probably going to get a little loud, so I'm probably just going to dub over what I'm doing. Well, that got a little rocky. This thing honestly hasn't been fired up in like 5 or 6 days, so the fact that there was nothing to help start it probably explains that why. So anyways, let's get to adjusting.
So here we have our manometer, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and change that over to inches of water. Then we're going to go ahead and hook that up to our primary throttle body, to the little valve that I hooked it up to. And then right next to that valve is the adjustment screw. It's a T20 Torx, and we're going to adjust that up to where it's running about 6 inches of water. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it on the second throttle body, and we're going to adjust that either up or down depending on your variation of if the second body was out of sync, going positive or negative. And bring that down to 6 inches of water as well. And then we're going to go ahead, and what I did is I hooked up both tubes to both throttle bodies to make sure that it was pulling, at that point it should be reading about 0 on your manometer, which means that they're going to be balanced. I have a crappy manometer and it fluctuated a little bit here and there, but I got it about as close as I can. And then to adjust your idle, you're going to go back to the T20 Torx idle screw on the primary throttle body, because that's actually the one that adjusts your throttle or your idle, and bring that down to whatever desired idle you want.
Now that we got that adjusted, let's turn her back on and take it for a drive. Oh man, sounds better. All right, let's go. It definitely feels like it's running better. It's a little more responsive on the throttle. Way better. It drives so much smoother. Doesn't feel like it's starving itself for fuel. So for everyone who thinks that Crossfire is a horrible system that can't be worked on and nothing ever works right, that's not exactly true. You just gotta know how to play with the system correctly to get it to do what you want it to. So yeah, honestly, I consider this to be a huge win, just because I mean it was just idling so freaking rough before, and it felt like there was no power behind it. So yeah, this is a huge win for the car. We're going to talk about what our plans are for this here in a second. Alright, let's talk future plans on this car, because I've been I've been back and forth on if we're going to restore it or if we're going to maybe turn it into something different. And right now we're going to keep Crossfire on it for a little bit. I got that intake, and I think I want to pick up some better flowing heads and a new computer for it. And we're going to take this 305 basically as far as we can performance wise with the Crossfire setup. And once we get done with that, because I mean that's not going to cost a whole bunch of money, when it comes to building cars. I mean, what do you specify as too much money? But I think in the long run, I do want to put more power behind it, and I would like it to be a street strip car. One thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately is the LT1. Not the new LT1, the 90s LT1. For those of you that don't know, they also made an L99, which was based off the LT1 design, but it had a 305 bore, which is like 3.76 inches or something like that, 3.73. But it had a 3-inch crank, so it actually came out to be like a 4.3 liter, like a 266 or 267, something like that. And personally, I think that would be a really cool build, to take an L99 crank and rods and put it into an LT1 with LT1 pistons. So we de-stroke it and we decompress it a little bit too, and we throw a ProCharger on it, and we would have a ProCharge fuel injected 302. Now that's just something I'm thinking about right now, just because I don't think many people have done that, and I think it'd be really cool, especially to have something like that inside of this 3rd gen. So that may happen in the future. It may not. I don't know. I could sell my 305, the Renegade intake that I got, to another Crossfire person and just say screw putting the intake on it and just start the LT1 build, because there's nothing wrong with the way that this thing's running right now. It's just, it's not very fast, you know. So who knows exactly what we're going to be doing in the long run, but I know that I would love to do a build like that, and that's what I'm really leaning towards, but we'll see if it happens. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below on what you think about the 302 ProCharge 302 build, and if you haven't done it already, hit that subscribe button. We're just going to keep doing more and more stuff to this car. Thanks for watching. Bye.